Breaking news as we enter the final week of February 2026 with the critical March appeal deadline approaching fast. Reports are flooding in that agents of the APC, representatives of President Tinubu's government, are currently having secret conversations and negotiations with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu inside his detention facility. What they are offering and what Kanu's response has been will shock you. Before we break down every detail of these negotiations and Kanu's powerful rejection, hit that subscribe button immediately, turn on notifications, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from, because this is developing rapidly and you cannot afford to miss any updates. According to multiple sources close to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, APC operatives have approached him with proposals for what they are calling a conditional settlement. What does this mean? It means the government is offering to release Kanu before the March 15 Supreme Court deadline, but only if he agrees to certain conditions that are extremely stringent and problematic. These conditions reportedly include requirements that Kanu would find completely unacceptable and that would amount to admitting guilt for crimes he insists he never committed. To understand how serious this is, we need to look at what Sahara Reporters is publishing. This is critical because Sahara Reporters, run by Omoyele Sowore, has direct connections to people close to Kanu and often publishes information directly from sources within his circle. According to their latest report, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has issued a clear and unambiguous statement. Nobody should be begging the Nigerian government for my release because I committed no crime. Think carefully about what Kanu is saying here. He is rejecting the entire framework of this proposed conditional settlement. The government representatives who met with him apparently presented a deal where certain conditions would need to be met before his release. These conditions likely include things like denouncing Biafra, supporting the APC politically, withdrawing his appeals, or, most dangerously, admitting guilt to the charges that Justice Omotosho used to sentence him to life imprisonment. Why would admitting guilt be such a devastating trap? Because once Kanu agrees that the charges against him are valid, once he withdraws his appeal and accepts a settlement based on acknowledging guilt, he completely loses his legal rights to challenge the conviction. Even the Supreme Court ruling that his conviction was void would become irrelevant because he would have voluntarily accepted guilt. The government could then claim that his release was an act of presidential mercy or pardon for crimes he committed, not a correction of constitutional violations. This is why Kanu is being absolutely clear in his message. He is saying that nobody should approach the government to beg for his release. Nobody should meet with Tinubu to plead for conditional freedom. Nobody should ask for any settlement that implies he committed crimes. The only acceptable approach is to tell the government that this man is innocent, that his detention has been unlawful from the beginning, and that he must be released unconditionally because no valid legal basis exists to hold him. When Kanu says, "I committed no crime," he is establishing a non-negotiable position. If the government wants to meet with him about settlement, they must come acknowledging that they have no legitimate case against him, that the Supreme Court has already declared his conviction void, that the UN has already declared his detention arbitrary and unlawful, and international pressure is at maximum levels. Why would he abandon all of that to accept a fragile political deal that could collapse the moment circumstances change? But while the government's attempted trap has failed, there is explosive positive news from the international front. Australia has now joined the growing list of countries showing support for the Biafran movement and specifically for Nnamdi Kanu's release. This development was announced by the Deputy Prime Minister of the Biafran government in exile, and the implications are massive. According to an official press statement issued on February 13, 2026, the government of the United States of Biafra expresses sincere appreciation to the Australian government for its recognition and protection of Biafran sovereign nationals, facilitated through the United States of Biafra mission in Australia. The statement reveals that a Biafran national has received protection in Australia, marking the fourth such case following the declaration of Biafra's independence restoration on November 29, 2024.